Sup, welcome back to another video, and as you guys see, it's another patch, it's another Abyss cycle, and because it's another Abyss cycle, we're going to be seeing exactly what the meta slaves over on the CN server are doing. Now remember, yes, usage rate does not mean the end all be all of everything. I have heard you guys say that many times again, and I have iterated in the past, like, don't just go completely off of usage rate, because usage rate has also skewed perceptions and biases towards certain characters, right? People are just going to pull for better units. I do think usage rate is an indication, especially consistent high usage rate over multitudes of patches is good indication to showcase a character's value across multiple metas. I think that's a fair statement. If your favorite character is in B tier, C tier, listen, doesn't mean that they are unplayable. It just means that meta players don't favor them due to there oftentimes being better options. Okay, so don't need to be so butthurt about usage rate and S tier characters, S plus tier characters. Your character's amazing. I'm sure you've put a lot of time and effort into building them. Kudos to you, hats off to you, but let's not shit on other people's parade just because your favorite character is not like in S tier, S plus tier by CN meta standards. So there's been some shifts and changes, as you guys will see later. And before we go any further, people keep asking me where this website is, where can I pull this data from? It's from WeChat. I keep telling you guys, what is WeChat? WeChat is it's like WhatsApp for Chinese people. Okay, it's a Chinese WhatsApp. So it's free for you to register and download and sign up for, and it has a bunch of helpful tools within the app, such as these Genshin mini apps. So unfortunately right now there isn't a main website, at least not one that I know of, that offers this specific set of data. Now this is across hundreds of thousands of players that have submitted their own data for these people to then publish for us to consume. So these are reliable, consistent meta players. Without further ado, let's go into it. S plus has kind of shrunk down by quite a bit. Used to have like maybe 7-8 units. It's been a while since I've seen Bennett outside of the S plus tier, meaning the most used units, but it's not too surprising seeing this current Abyss cycle. I mean, it is a little surprising, but yeah, like I said, not too surprising. Is this a shift away from finally the Bennett, Xingqiu, and Zhangling era? Probably not. Like I keep saying, Hoyover's tunes and caters the Abyss. Like for example, Kokomi usually isn't in S plus tier. She hovers around A, S, and very rarely S plus tier. S plus meaning above 70% usage across hundreds of thousands of people playing these iterations of the Spirall Abyss. So these characters oftentimes will move. I've realized A tier, S tier, S plus tier characters, oftentimes they can cross over in this area. A very noticeable change of usage rate is Nilou. Nilou actually has some of the most volatile usage rates I've seen among any meta characters. Some metas she's S plus tier, some she's sitting in B tier. As you guys will see, the changes in usage rate, it's almost always Nilou at the top. Either suddenly one patch she gets boosted by 40%, or suddenly she drops by 40% because the next meta doesn't really favor her playstyle. But overall, when she is utilized and preferred, she is insanely good, insanely broken, because she's so cheap to access. There's nothing really about this character that requires you to dump like an exorbitant amount of resource leveling a bunch of different characters. You really just need to activate her super booms, and for the most part that's going to get the job. And yes, you have to build her HP, you have to do some amount of investment, but it's not nearly as much as some of the other meta teams. So Nilou, insane low effort meta unit. But some of the other ones, you guys already know the drill, right? Baiju has been here very consistently. I said he's going to hover between mid 50s to 60s for the foreseeable future. 90% again, Nahida. It's Nahida. It's her show right now. I mean, maybe once Fontaine come around, she'll become more tame and drop down to S tier. I think Hoyoverse has got a real good grasp on the general CN meta and preferences of characters, and it's not too much to say, in my opinion, that they balance a lot of the character strength and weaknesses around the CN meta. So Nahida likely will see some adjustments. I mean, not to the character, but to the Abyss to not favor her so much. I expect her to be around 70-80% once the Hydro Archon drops, and maybe rarely you'll even see her drop into S tier, but unlikely. I think she's gonna share the S plus tier consistently with the Hydro Archon. Nahida right now, along with I believe Yelan, are the two most consistent. Even Kazuo has dropped down to S tier by CN meta. Again, I keep having to reiterate this. People keep saying, "Oh, Walrus, you're overselling them. They're not that good." Relax. It's just a CN meta players have really preferred Yelan and Nahida in terms of meta usage, even over characters like Kazuha, over characters like Bennett, Shinchu, Xiangli. I know a lot of people in the West prefers these staple units because these are like free-to-play units and people have invested a lot into them, so they always consistently use them, national team, whatnot. But yeah, this is the go-to for CN. I mean, looking down A tier, Hu Tao has dropped quite a bit now, but I kind of understand why, because of this current meta, as well as Ayato. Very close to S tier, but not quite. A tier is pretty barren in terms of percentage usage rate, but B tier has some of our more favored units. I see Eula is actually bumped up a little bit. She used to be C tier, so people are using Eula a little more. Mona is actually pushing up quite a bit as well, which is understandable due to... are people using Mona to deal with the Pyro Lector? No, it can't be, right? Maybe they are. But let's move on to the C tier. So these are the C tier characters. Unfortunately, if your waifu husbando falls into this tier, again, it doesn't mean they're bad. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just showcasing you guys data. For example, Zhao, right? Zhao can still do good work. I'm telling you guys, Zhao can still do good work. It's just that it's a little more difficult to use characters that are like Nemo, Geo nowadays, because if they throw some weird Lector or Heralds with a weird ass shield into the Abyss, it's oftentimes a little more difficult to deal with, and you require other supportive elements to clear them. For example, if you have any Hydro Applicators, Hydro Catalyst users right now, will be pretty useful, as you guys will see later in the team usage section. So those units oftentimes don't fit very well into Zhao's teams, and nowadays like Mono, Anemo almost. So it's weird. He's in a weird spot, and I mean, Hoyoverse has never given him much love, but it really is a sorry state that he's in right now. That's your C tier. Let's move on. This is what I was talking about when I was saying Nilou is the most volatile unit in the game, bar none. Like, you guys will see, watch next patch, she's gonna have a plummet of like 30-40% of usage rate because they just don't favor her in the Abyss. Her strength is highlighted when you have groups of enemy, multiple waves of enemy, right, with short downtime. They're very bulky, you need to chew through them. And also the fact that she's Hydro does help a little bit here and there when it comes to application. Now, she's not the best in terms of Hydro application, but she offers a good amount of Hydro in your team. But let's not kid ourselves, the real reason why people actually play this character is because of her Super Bloom mechanic, which is super easy to use and, in my honest opinion, quite broken for the current state of the game, especially for early game players, free-to-play players, right? So Nilou, whenever you can use her, she suddenly just rises to the top. Alhaitham coming back a little bit here as well. Kokomi, of course, to be expected to rise up a little bit. Tartaglia. So like, are you guys starting to see a pattern? It seems like the Hydro characters suddenly have a huge boost in usage rate. Am I crazy? 3 out of the 4 top 5 are Hydro characters, and then here's another Hydro character sitting at number 6. So if you guys are struggling, maybe try using your Hydro character. I mean, even Barbara is squeezing like, what is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Barbara is top 10 when it comes to usage rate gains. This is, I mean, I'm just gonna say it, this is unheard of. This is something about these Hydro characters, man. Use them. Right? That's all I'm saying. Now that you guys seen the winners, let's go take a look at the losers. Wow, what happened? Is it just me, or top 3 losers are Pyro characters? Starting to see a trend. A lot of Pyro characters losing a bit of usage rate. And look, remember Nahida, 98.8% down to 91.2%. I mean, whoa, but hey, come on, Hoyoverse, do something about this character. You can't have a character that has like 90-something% usage. That's the definition of a broken character. I mean, 80% is already pretty high, but 90%, kind of pushing it a little bit. So glad to see her coming down a little bit. Gives us a little more variety, but not really. Because you see, move away from the Pyro units. It's actually surprising that even Xingqiu has dropped down a bit. That's also because he's associated in Vaporize teams, which is Pyro-based teams, so with Hydro supports. So that's why Xingqiu actually dropped off, even though you see over here, the Hydro characters actually have risen up. But these are the on-hit Hydro characters, right? Or good passive Hydro applicators like Kokomi, they've gained it, but people like Xingqiu has lost a little bit of usage value. But don't worry, trust me, all of them will come back next patch. This is just like a freaking roller coaster, up and down and up and down. All right, so don't get worried. Moving on now. This is what most people are here for, the team list. Like, well, what are people using? it's not a surprise, honestly, that Ayaka Freeze is once again one of the most used teams because it has Ayaka's insane AoE burst with the freeze, keeping enemies in place, especially with the freaking teleporting Rift Hounds in Chamber 1 first half, and then you have Kokomi to deal with Elector. So very, very simple. It's not a surprise at all to see this team just crushing through it once again. Alternative is Tartaglia, my guy. Is chef's kiss. This guy just never leaves like the top 5 list. Every single meta, he's almost always sitting somewhere within the top 5 most used. This guy is just very consistent. Hydro is broken of an element. There's too much reliance of it, both on field, off field. Right? It's just crazy. So 95-5. So again, the percentage here is 98% use this in the first half, second half, right? So if you guys are stuck, just freeze right here, pause, take notes. Which team is best for second half? Look, I'll hate them, Yamiko, Zhongli, and Nahida. Second half, boom, copy that, run it. If you have these characters, you're probably gonna do well. And if you don't have I'll hate them, if you have Tainari, bam, exact same thing. Run it in that second half. Right here, Hu Tao, double Hydro with Zhongli, run it in that second half, right? So here you'll see a variation of the international, which is just switch Xingqiu for Yalan. If you don't have Yalan, I'm sure Xingqiu isn't gonna hurt too bad, running him here as well. Second half, boom, copy that, run it. All right, this video is supposed to be educational, although you don't need to copy and paste exactly what they're doing here, but using this is definitely gonna help you. So last few days to clear the Abyss. If you guys are still struggling, this is the cheat sheet. Don't worry, once the Abyss update, I'm gonna make another video with what the CN meta slaves are running. Then again, I'm using meta slaves as a very loose term here. They're meta players, and if you guys hate that, you don't have to watch this video, you don't have to take this advice, but I'm just sharing it with people who are struggling or who are curious as to what the hell CN is doing. All right, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, urge y'all to stay safe. Peace, bye bye.